Okay, it's a beautiful May 5th, 2022, and I have to replace my brake master cylinder. Now, there's already videos on YouTube about this, and it's really not that bad. I'm not going to do my clutch master because it's fine. I think the hardest part of this job is probably the bleeding of the brakes. You know, once you get this bolted in, you have to bleed the brakes. So I already hit all my bleeders with rust penetrant, a little PB blaster. So I'll be doing this over this weekend. It's going to rain the next 2 days, so I'm just going to get a little bit done tonight and just get everything out and the new one bolted in. Hopefully tonight, Thursday night. I'm sorry, it's Thursday night, May 5th. And maybe finish it up Sunday or next weekend when the weather's better. Okay, let's get to it. A couple of things on that rear, hold on this rear connection here. There's a banjo bolt back there, and there's supposed to be a copper washer on either side of the banjo connector. This metal piece here looks like a banjo. It's supposed to be a copper washer on either side. I only see one on mine, unless there's one under the bolt head that I just can't see. That's important. And there's also, very important, a little cylindrical valve in the rear port with a spring. Make sure you transfer that to the new master cylinder, because that's important for making sure the fluid goes where it's supposed to go. So there is something in this port you have to transfer to the new master. If the hopefully if the person who changed the master beforehand replaced it. You never know. These cars are getting old. Okay, that's all. Thanks. This is your brake light switch. You can just disconnect the connectors and pull that off with this cover. You don't have to loosen this nut to get it out, because it's set properly. And I don't know if you're going to have to readjust it after you put the new master in, but I'm going to take a chance and maybe I won't have to readjust it. So I'm just going to pull out these two bullet connectors back there. And there you have it. Let me just put the torch on here. Yeah, those two back there. Okay. Also pull off your air filter housings so you have a little more room to work. This wonderful prop rod is in the way. Could probably take that off and prop it with a stick or something. If it's really in my way, I'll remove it. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, I have some room through here to work, so maybe it'll be okay. Okay, I just unbolted the air cleaners. It's a 1/2-inch bolt head if you have the stock air cleaners. And going to undo these connectors. Trying to see the colors on them. Looks like, I'm not sure if that's a green with a white and then just a straight green, or, well, you only have to get one of them right because there's only two. So I'm gonna go with the green with the gray tracer, or green with the white tracer back here. Unplug these. Be good to go. I'll have room to work on this part here. This little tool is very useful. It's a T-handle ratchet, 1/4-inch drive. It's got your mode switch. You could lock it, or you could tighten or clockwise, counterclockwise, or just lock it. And it's good for getting down into the deep parts here to get these couple bolts. Now, I'm missing some, so that's going to make this easy. There's one down there. Hold on. Put this down. It looks like there's 2 holes in the front that should have a fastener. And there's one that I'm trying to... So it's probably 6 altogether. There's one down there. So, I'm sorry, 4. 2 in the front, 1 here, and then there's one on the other side. It looks like there's 1 or 2 here. I'm not sure what's going on with this operation. No, there's 1 there. There's 1. That's something else back there. So here's the 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Mine only has 2. So that just made my job a little easier, because I never really got around to... Remember, I only had this car a year, so I never got around to... I fixed the brake light switch. This whole thing was loose when I got the car. There were no bolts in. So I got that fixed, so here we go. There we go, the whole cover's pushing forward because of the tension on the plunger of the switch. The tension on the brake light switch that has a spring in it. I'm not going to be able to hold the camera for this one. I'll try. Well, that one looks like I never had the right size. So that one's out already. Okay, so this whole cover's out. Don't put your tools on your... Don't put your tools on your... What's this called? Hood? Don't put your tools on it. Okay, bye. Here's what your clutch and master brake cylinder cover look like. I don't even know why you need this other than the brake light switch. And you could see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 holes on it. And let me just show you the inside. The inside is nice and happy with just that little nipple sticking out. 2, that's your brake light switch right there. Now keep in mind, this is like a backward switch. The way it works is it's normally pressed in. And when you step on the brake, the plunger comes out. Because you have this action here, see? When you step on the brake, this big piece of metal here that goes against that little nipple on the switch, when you step on the brake, that goes that way. That goes towards the firewall. Okay? So it's switch works opposite. You know, most of the time you think a switch, you press it in to make it work. This is the opposite. And a revelation, gentlemen and ladies. I can't even speak. It's after work. Jeez. Look at the newness revealed. This is probably a pretty recent clutch master replacement. Gee, I wonder if I got lucky and they changed the clutch slave cylinder as well. Okay, so see this buildup. Take a photo of this buildup. I'm taking a video, but also take a photo. Because you don't want to screw that up. I mean, it's nothing difficult, but you know, there's spacers, washers, whatever. You need to get it right. So take lots of photos and get it right. So when you put it back together, you put it together right. Look at all this. Look at this beautiful parcel shelf. I could put my parts in here. Thank you, MG, for leaving me some space. I mean, I know that was for a bigger engine. Perhaps a straight 6, who knows? Yeah, okay. So here's what we have. It gives you better access to these connections. There. Okay, I don't want to disturb my clutch, so I'm going to remove these 2 brake lines. That's easy. One here and one here. Get those out of the way. Then there's 2 bolts, one here and one underneath. Let me see if I can, there it is. There's a couple of nuts back here. Those I've watched videos, but I mean, maybe you can get to them. I don't know how hard it is to get to them. We'll find out. And I have to disconnect, obviously, the linkage right here. That's just a cotter pin and a pin. No big deal there. So I'm not sure if I can do it with this piece in place, but I'm going to try. Okay, this is the only thing. This is the only thing stopping your car, is a 2-cent cotter pin. So, I mean, these cars are made to a price point. Very easy to disconnect the brake pedal. It's disconnected. The hole in the brake pedal metal is not rounded, oblong. It's nice and round. So, this is what was holding that on. Okay, if your cotter pin is rusty, just get a new one. I don't like the way mine looks. It's kind of flimsy. It's as almost as if it was going to break when I bent it. So time to get a new one. You know, these things are under hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. So here you go. Getting there. I'm gonna put these aside and clean that pin up a little bit. Clean that pin up, yeah. Incidentally, that is where my feet go. You can see the floorboard in the car. So this cover that I took off is actually part of your firewall. So it's not only just to hold your brake light switch, it's part of your firewall. So coming over here, these tools I use on brake lines and things. This way you don't round your brake lines or your tranny cooling lines. Hopefully one of these is the right size. Okay. I got my 7/16 on there. On the front one. The back one looks to be the same. 1/2 inch was too big, so I didn't know if it was going to be metric or not. Well, it could be metric, but it's also 7/16. It was a little tight getting it on there, but it got on there. So 7/16. All right, it's a little tight, but it's very easy to break them free. So you can break them free with this tool, so you don't strip it. And then once it's loose, you could resort to the good old open and wrench. You're not going to strip it now because it's loose. Or the multi-point feature here, either one. Taking the cap off also gives you a little more rotation. You could see I have the open end on this one. This one's just about done. And once I have this one out, I can easily get to the front one there. Okay, as you can see, both lines are free. Something's dripping. Both lines are free. And the front one, I was able to use the crow's foot here. I think that's what they call the 7/16, because once that back one is out of the way, it's easy to get the front one off. So I don't know, I did the back one first, and then I did the front one second. So the only thing holding this master in is 2 bolts and 2 nuts. So I got to figure out how to get in there with some tools. I may not have the right tools to reach those nuts on the other side, but I'll do my best. One last comment. You know, after working an 8-hour day and not getting a lot of sleep, what gives you the drive to work on your MG? Well, I'll tell you, even your Triumph, whatever you're driving, just think of the end result of you going down the road, going down whatever your favorite parkway is, going over your favorite bridge, riding down by the beaches or your favorite lake with the wind blowing through your hair and hearing these little motors hum away. That's what gives me the energy to do this. The end justifies the means. So that's all I'm thinking about right now. I'm not thinking about how my back hurts right now or that I didn't eat. I'm thinking about the end result. Okay, folks. Hope you're doing okay. There's the back of the master. I mean, it's right up against the wall, pretty much. Now, if you look back there, there is an access cover. Okay, so that will enable you to use an extension to get to the bottom nut on the master. I mean, you can probably get to it through here if you had an angled closed end wrench or something, or open end wrench, but it's much easier to just pop this cover off. You'll get to the bottom nut. And the front one, where you can definitely get to, it's right there. Okay, now the problem is, will I be able to get the master out? I'm still going to have to move this big bracket. So there's a bunch of bolts holding it in. Some you can get from inside the car. I'll show you. So remember that access port, see that little plastic cover? I'm going to go inside the car and show you. You can see where my brake fluid went. We're inside the lovely MG. Okay. And there's the cover. There's a bolt, and I got a hole over there without a bolt. Probably is supposed to have a bolt. So yours probably has 2 bolts. And, you know, if you look over here, you see a number of bolts, random bolts. There's my brake spring. There's one way in the back next to that green piece that comes down. You could just see it there. It looks like these are weld nuts. I'm not sure. It looks like they're part of the body, but I'm not sure. But anyway, here's the cover. I'll take that off. Then I'm just going to use a ratchet with a long socket to hold the nut. And then loosen these. The clutch, if you don't want to mess with your clutch and re-bleed it, not that that's hard. There's enough play in the clutch piping, you know, the metal piping to move the whole assembly forward to get the brake master cylinder in, so you do not have to disconnect your clutch. I am pretty much 100% confident of that now. Look at this. I got some rust issues, probably from brake fluid leaking over the years, or clutch, you know, .3. So, okay, there you go. Okay, I took the cover off, and there's the back of your master cylinder. It's right there. So once I unbolt this, let me just see what's going on here. Sorry, I had a... Okay, there's the nut. Very simple to get to. Sorry, I had an angle. Oh, the camera. There you go. There's the bottom nut. You know, I bet you don't... Maybe I don't have to move the this assembly. I wonder if they gave me enough access to pull this thing back into the car, into the passenger compartment through this hole. And if the clutch master's in the way, I can always loosen that. Loosen the nuts on that. Not completely take it off, but just give it some play and move it out of the way. So we'll see what happens here. Oh, incidentally, there's your voltage regulator, if you guys were wondering where your voltage regulator is, and that's a new one. Very nice. Okay. Put that one in because the old one was bad. Okay, so there's your nut. That's the one you gotta get to. That's the bottom one. The top one you can get to from the other side, and there's the clutch bottom nut as well. So the designers did a good thing here, having this little access port. And there's what the cover looks like. That's the engine side, and this is the little handle molded in, so you pop it right off. Okay. Cut. Okay, I got the top bolt loose. There's the nut. It's ready to fall off. So you need one. You need a magnet. You need a magnet. Well, I'm going to use a magnet because this way that doesn't fall down into the car. It's not going to go too far. You'll probably be able to get it once you take the master out, but I'm going to try to save it from falling. So this is the top one. This is the easy one. And there you have it. Top nut, top lock washer. Magnet caught them fine. It's nice to have the right tools. On the parcel shelf you go. Okay, but okay, here's what I'm going to do. From inside the car, I'm going to get this bottom nut off, because see that square hole in the thing there? I'm going to hold this. I'm going to hold the head of the bolt with this wrench, and you don't need a fancy one like this. Any wrench will do it. So I'm going to hold that, and then from the other port, from this port, I'm going to use a 1/2 inch socket. I think it's a 1/2 inch. The other one was 3/8 drive. Also from inside the car. Now there's no way I'm going to be able to video this because I only have 2 hands, and I don't know if I gotta get on my back and put my feet up and get on my back and put my feet up here, or I can just slide in here through the door to do it. But I'm not going to be able to video it, but I'll let you know what I did. Thank you. Okay, I decided I needed to use the, this is around a 10-inch span here. That's about what you're going to need, I guess, to reach the inside nut of the bottom bolt of that master cylinder. 1/2 inch. Let's try it. Okay, I wedged this tool he's holding it. Then I'm going to go on the inside. I'm going to go on the inside with the ratchet while this is holding it. Of course, if you have a partner, you could just have someone hold this while you're in the car unscrewing the nut. Okay, thanks. I think some children have just arrived, and maybe they can help me. Okay, a couple hours went by, a few hours actually. I just had some dinner because my phone battery was dead. Let me put my torch on. So as you can see, it's out. And we're going to go back to the car. Now over here, this you have to reuse. And then I read that there should be a copper washer on the inside of this banjo fitting and on the outside. I'm not sure if there's one in there though. Can you see? Well, I'll find out when I pull this out. And like I said before, inside here is a cylindrical valve and the spring. You have to remove those from the old one and put them on the new one. Now the new one has this fitting here. Let's go back to the car. Now, look at this mess. This is disgusting. Brake fluids everywhere, along with nature mixed in. So it's nature and brake fluid mixed in. Oh, let me shut this light off because this might affect. Okay, so here's what we did. I had a helper, and so the master cylinder is, see those two holes? There's two bolts, top and bottom. Top one's easy. The bottom one, we actually both did. We were able to get it out using tools from under the hood. We didn't have to go inside the car to do that, okay? So we used just some opening wrenches, some ratchets, whatever we had to do to get it out. Okay, then, but I still couldn't get the master cylinder out, even though we had the two bolts and the nuts out, okay? Okay, so what I had to do was, okay, let me make a long story short. This piece here, see this? Let me back out here. This whole assembly is bolted down in multiple places. Okay? Now, in order, first of all, there's one or two bolts that you have to get to from inside the car. I don't know if you could see. Oh yeah, you could see that. See that threaded hole there against the firewall? Got a nice shiny threads there. So that's one of the ones you get from inside the car. And there's probably one on the other side, but my car was, oh yeah, there it is. My car is missing it, so there's one and two. Those two against the firewall from inside the car. And then there's a bunch around the base of this thing, okay? They're all different size heads and whatnot. There's like 4 to 6 of them. Take them off. Now, I had to take out the clutch cotter pin. And I had to take out the bottom. There's a big nut down here, okay, for this pivot. I had to just back the bolt out a little bit because, see that hole down there? You could just barely see that one down there. That one is very hard to get to, and you're not going to get to it unless you take the clutch pivot pin out and the, you know, and the cotter pin, and then take this big nut off for the bottom pivot. Oh, where are we? Hold on. I don't know if you can see those threads of that big bolt coming through, this big bolt. You just push it back a little bit. That's all you have to do. And the clutch is still connected. The clutch master does not have to be disconnected to change your brake master cylinder. Okay? You don't have to do that. Because I'm not looking to make extra work, and I noticed that my clutch, it looks fairly new. It doesn't look old. And it works great, so I'm going to just leave it there. So what else? Okay, so once you, not sure what, I'm just going to call this a clutch master and brake master cylinder mounting bracket. You see? Goes to the firewall, and it goes, and there's just a bunch of bolts. So you loosen all those, you tip this forward, the master comes right out. Your lines are already disconnected, the master comes right out. And that's the way I'm going to get the new one in. Keep this loose. I'm just going to leave everything in the state of disassembly. You can see I have the clutch pin out. Okay. And I have this bolt. This bottom bolt, you don't have to take it all the way out. You just back it out a little bit so your ratchet can get... I'm just going to point down there. There's a... my finger got stuck. Okay. See that hole in the front there? It's hard to see. Let me flip this because I'm all backwards here. Okay, there's a lip in the front, which is very annoying. You can't get a ratchet down there, and then there's a big nut here with a lock washer on there, so you can't. And then this clutch pivot, pedal pivot with the cotter pin. You got to take that off, and you got to take that off. Then you can get to that last bolt. And all the heads are different sizes. So what I did, I have everything on my parcel shelf, all my parts, and I arranged them in the order, in the kind of orientation that they go on. So, you know, like if it's in the front, it goes to the front. If it's in the right, it goes to the right, and so forth. I mean, I don't do that with the obvious ones. Like here's a bolt here, he's by himself, because that's the only one that came through from the inside of the car, is that one. Those four came from the under the hood. So here's my assortment of parts. So there you go. That's what you have to remove right there. This is what you have to remove to get the clutch, the brake master out. Now, this is just disgusting. I mean, brake fluid's everywhere, mixed with... I want to clean this. It's not going to be easy with everything in my way, but I'll do my best to clean this up before I put everything back together. But I'm happy. I don't have to disturb the clutch master, which looks fairly new. And you don't have to take this whole thing out of the car, and you don't have to fully disconnect the bottom pivot, this whole assembly here. All you have to do is disconnect, you know, these two plunger pieces. This one's for the brake master and this one's for the clutch master. So this is a little review. So I had a helper, like I said, to get the bottom bolt of the master cylinder, to get that out. And we both did it from under the hood. Like one person held the head and the other person turned the nut, or the other way around. One person was holding the nut while the other person was, loosening it. I don't know. Well, you get the idea. But we didn't have to do it from inside the car at all. The only thing we had to get out from inside the car was that one bolt. Should be two, but I was missing one. And that's that. Okay. Thank you for listening. I know this was a long summary, but I just wanted you to appreciate. Here's the old one. You take the cap off, that gives you more clearance. The old cap's right there. And coming into the car, I showed you the car already. There's just brake fluid everywhere in here. I know this is disgusting. I'm gonna have to clean that out somehow. Not too bad. I mean, not too bad. It's my first time doing this job, so not too bad at all. All right, tomorrow's supposed to rain, so I don't know when I'm gonna complete this. So I'll just make this a part 1, and I'm not sure when I'll get to part 2. Hopefully before the summer. Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.